I'm going to show you guys a basically placement of a an SEEG electrode today with robotic arm. You can do this with any stereotactic system. It's just that any of the robotic arms or one of the stereotactic arms will allow you to rapidly change between your trajectories. So if you're putting in 10, 14 electrodes, certainly the Lexel, these are powerful, accurate devices, but changing all of those coordinates takes time. So certainly this is really, at least in cranial neurosurgery, one of the procedures that's really enhanced by robotics. So just for workflow, patient comes into the room, is under general anesthesia. You can place either Lexel or a CRW frame, and then they are attached to, this is the NeuroMate. You can do this with ROSA. There's several other robots that are coming onto the market. Any of these that are proven to be accurate will work, but certainly anything, the head fixation is going to be rigid. They're placed in the bed is here. One of the things that when we were working with it, we always unplug the bed so there's no movement because the head is fixed. So, and it's not necessarily fixed to the bed. So you unplug the bed so there's no movement there. Once you have the patient in position, you then you put your localizer on and then do your, either you could take the patient to CT but much better to do, say, O-arm or to do a CT right here. So once we've done that, we've then fused our images to our preoperative MRI, and we have that, so now we're in stereotactic space. And so here I have a trajectory. We're going to plan a temporal electrode here that I've planned. And so basic stereotactic considerations, you want to avoid sulci, that's where the vasculature is, obviously. And then ideally you're coming in at a right angle to the bone that we'll talk about will give us some advantages and prevent skiving when we're drilling. We have our electrode here in the temporal lobe going to the hippocampus. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to make some measurements. So the first measurement we're going to make is our depth from the inner table of the skull to target, so that's 38 millimeters. So we've got that. The next measurement we're going to make is from the inner table. Let's zoom out a little bit here. Oops, sorry. Delete. From the inner table of the skull to the scalp, I'd say that's about 14.8 millimeters. And then we are going to set it where we're 2 millimeters. We want the robot to be as close to the scalp as possible without actually touching the scalp to avoid any deviation in our drill. And so we're going to set that at 2 millimeters, and then the actual guide itself is 72 millimeters. So we have all of that. And finally, I probably would have checked this before, but once we go to our trajectory view, we want to go along the tract and make sure we're happy with our trajectory. And we talked about this a little bit in the lecture. I feel like, the real danger is our vessels on the surface here. It looks like we're in good position. I don't see us violating or crossing any of the vasculature here along our trajectory. And then finally, one of the nice things with software is you can actually superimpose whatever electrode you want to make sure you have good contacts all along whatever area you're covering here. So this all looks good. So we're set. We're going to go to our robot here, and we want trajectory 1. So our tool length is going to be 127. We want to move to trajectory. Okay. And we want configuration 3. Okay. Great. You want to go ahead? You would be scrubbed in at the time. You always need someone else driving. So we're scrubbed in. Oop.
Pull that right out.
So you have a sleeve on your on the arm itself. So this is sterile. This is draped off. And one of the nice things about the robot as opposed to the frame is you can actually put a laser guide on on the actual arm before you're sterile, and you can either put if you're worried about accuracy or you just like to check things multiple times, you can put a staple on the scalp before you do your spin, and then you can verify that. That's a fiducial you can use to make sure that your arm is accurate. And the other thing you can do is then you can mark all of your SEG spots with the laser, and then it's our technique to shave the entire head. Some of that's for comfort as well, and the other thing is we don't know exactly where those are going to be, but if you do this before, you can actually do a minimal shave at each spot. So here we are. We're probably, this obviously doesn't have any scalp, but we'd be about do we have the drill? Great. So we want to be as close to the scalp as possible. Great, and then great. And so we've already put our measurements in. So we know that from the end of the arm here to the inner table of the skull, where we want the drill to go. Obviously, we do not want the drill to go to target. That is not what we want. But we've already measured that. We know that's 91. And actually, let's go ahead and... So our drill length is 91, is that correct? Yeah. Okay, great. So we can set that before. Certainly, there's still a tactile component to this. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. Great. I'll give it a little bit of... Great.
The MRI.
What's that?
The MRI is not actually of this head, so no.
Oh, right. Oh, it's gonna be great. Oh, yeah. So a couple things when we're drilling. In our planning, you want to be as perpendicular as possible. You can imagine here, if you're at any sort of an angle, you can get skiving. We talked about that before. If you notice there, we're not too far. I believe that was, certainly if you're in posterior temporal, vena labae is here. And so any skiving in your drilling technique is going to move your electrode and potentially expose the patient to some danger. And so you want to be diligent in your drilling. The other thing you can do before is to place a Steinman pin to make a little divot. And then you want to make sure you're coming straight in and out. You don't want to drop your hand at all. Then the drill bit itself starts to bend. And you're still, there's a tactile component to this where there's always a little bit of a plunge at the end, which is unsettling, but lets you know that you're through. So we're through the skull there. Now, we want to go ahead and, oh, you already have it. Great. Great. So we're going to maintain our trajectory here. And if we can drive back along the trajectory, great. So then we're still, remember that our electrode is going to be committed by our drilling and by our bolt here. So you never want to drill your hole and then move your arm, whatever you're using, because you've kind of lost it. So we have our bolt in place now. So then our trajectory is preserved. I'm actually going to take if we could, yep. So then you use we've measured this. If we could go to 190. So then there's a couple things you could do. You could either measure from the bolt and then calculate from the bolt to target, or you could bring back the arm to a standard distance, such as you would use in a Lexel frame. It's always the same distance to target. In this case, I believe we took it to, it might not be long enough for this, but you're going to measure, and we have it 190 standard, so we can slowly bring this in. You're trying to split the fibers of the dura. Some people use coagulation, little monopolars as well, and that takes you to target and lets you know that you're through your dura. Great. And then we've already measured all of our electrodes to 190, and we have our arm set to, let's get our cap here. And we have our arm set to 190, 100, or 19 centimeters to target. So we still are using it, not for trajectory, but certainly for depth. And now we're flush there. We tighten our cap just about halfway till we get some tension. Then we can take out our guide wire, and then you can fully seat that. Great. And then that, you're going to read off to your OR tech so you know which electrode goes with which trajectory. We can then go to the next trajectory. So, oh, you can just go to 2. Yeah, 2's the next one. Ready? Okay, great. And great. And so we're ready for the next electrode. And then just repeat. So you can imagine that's quite a bit faster than some of the other, whether changing coordinates or even with some of the articulating arms. Certainly the accuracy is good, but it does enhance your workflow. Once you have all of your electrodes in, you are going to certainly do a spin in the operating room to make sure you're happy with your placement, and also you may see a hematoma or anything that usually I've not seen that yet, but certainly you want to make sure you're accurate while you're in the operating room. You can either, if you're too deep, you can pull those electrodes back or change your trajectory. But yeah, after that, you take the patient out of the frame and off to the ICU.